Well, we blacked him out. Well, Coach DeBoer wore his black shirt, and Alabama goes into Athens and ends another one of their streaks. 33 straight, 29 straight, back-to-back championships. You don't want any of this. And all the talking and everything else. I got a lot of respect for Georgia. I thought it was a really good football game, and I like the way that Alabama played. Still got a tough season ahead, but what a win for Alabama. 24-21 final in Athens. Roll fucking Tide, everybody. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's go. So I'm going to open the phone lines. You guys can talk about it. We're going to celebrate it here on Cover Crimson. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe, thumbs up, do all the things we ask you to do. But let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Just when everybody counted us out, you don't have to get up for this game. You don't have to get up for Alabama and Georgia. You go to Alabama, you know about Georgia. They know about us. And that was beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm still not convinced. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm still not convinced about the Swarm defense. But you know what? I'm not going to sit here and talk about anything negative tonight. I'm going to give Coach DeBoer and his guys a lot of credit because no one beats Georgia but Alabama. No one does. But I tell you what, you know who owns the dogs. You know who that is. So with all of that said, let's get this party started. I'll expect a big night, everybody, because Alabama just knocked off Georgia in Athens. And I know that this isn't Georgia from 4 years ago, but this isn't Alabama or anybody else from 4 years ago. This was two pretty good teams. Ty Simpson doing things when he had to. Jam Miller coming back made a big difference in the run game. Alabama played inspired football. I thought Bray Hubbard and the defense were good. I thought that targeting call was complete crap. Thought it was terrible. But you know what? These guys dealt with the adversity, and they won a good game. And they made plays when they had to. That it's hard to win on the road. And that's what they did. So you guys get the comment section going. I'm telling you right now, Ty Simpson is – Jake Coker said this earlier this week on a show I did with him. And he's like, look, Ty Simpson is starting to lead and command now, and you can tell that the guys are behind him. And I said, the C is just on his chest. The leadership is what he brings to the table. And watching him on the sideline, keeping everybody focused, you knew that it was going to be a tough second half. Kirby Smart knows how to make adjustments. And we know that from when he was at Alabama. I'd say that he's the best defensive coordinator in the history of the University of Alabama. And there's been some good ones. There's been some great ones. But you guys know, between him and Nick Saban, they would lock down teams in the second half. And Bama had a tough time moving the ball, missed a field goal, but they did enough to get the win. And that's all that matters because their defense did well. But Ty Simpson made some plays. He's tough. He's a competitor. Bama was great on third downs. That's a difference in this game, too. And look, and you got a lot of football left. Now we got to go and play Vandy. And we're going to talk about that, but which isn't going to be an easy game. But I'll tell you this right now. Alabama, I don't know why, but they play their best football against Georgia, and they did it again in this game tonight. So, yeah, look, I know, and I'm looking at the comments, and I get it, man. I mean, this isn't watching football from 3 or 4 years ago. You just don't have the depth. But you got to enjoy and respect and appreciate a win. And a win like this is enormous. And Super Chats, throw them up there. I love Ty Simpson, Roll Tide. I do too. Absolutely, Resin. I do too. Love them. This is what you want. You want a quarterback that's waiting, learning, and when they get their opportunity, they seized the day. And that's exactly what he did. I'm going to get to your calls. Let's do this. Let's jump on. Give me like 3 minutes and then we'll get to the next caller. But let's have a good time tonight because these wins are colossal. And I need to know from you guys in the section here, just make sure you can hear the caller. We got everything up and going. So let's get this party started. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Mick, it's Stan from LA. How's it going?
What's up, Stan? Guys, in the comment section, can you hear Stan from LA? Tell me yes or no. Stan, good to talk to you, brother. Roll Tide.
Hey, Mick, okay, full disclosure, I am traveling, so I have only got to watch the first half. I'm just now finding out Bama wins.
It was a great win. It was a great win, man. It was a second half was, kind of one of these like defensive battles. Bama missed a field goal, but I'll tell you what, Bama made a stop on 4th down deep in Georgia territory. They could have kicked to tie the game. They decided to go for it. And Quay Russaw, or was it LT Overton made one hell of a play, knocked a guy down in the backfield. We get the ball back, and that was it. I mean, like for all intents and purposes, Bama's defense rose to the occasion after that. Ty Simpson just didn't make any mistakes. And that's another part of this too. Okay. It was Overton that made the play. Yeah. And look, Ty didn't lose the game. He won the game, and I love that about him, man. I love that about him, Stan. He just doesn't make mistakes.
Oh yeah. He was on fire in the first half. I mean, he was amazing. He was in control. He drops the ball right to Williams, and Williams butterfingers it again. And that right on there. That's 3 drops, 3 touchdowns he's lost this year. It's just that boy's got to learn how to catch the football. Period. And then Talty, he needs to learn how to kick a field goal because I was able to watch, like I said, the first half, but after that, I'm in and out of stuff here. I'm traveling, so it's like I am in the dark. And all I know is I clicked on the ESPN app real quick, and hallelujah, we won. I'll take it. And I'm smoking I did pull over. I got a cigar, man, and it's a Melania Series V. So I'm gonna enjoy this one, and I'll take the win. The defense, yeah. Hey, Bray Hubbard coming up and putting that hit on that ball.
I loved it.
That won the game. That won the game, right there. That was the difference of the game.
That was 3 points.
I love you guys. It's 3 points, and I'll take the win. Good, bad, or ugly. How about them dogs? Sit down, bad boy. We own them. It's beautiful.
Love it, Stan. Sit. Hey, good hearing from you, brother. Sit. Roll Tide, man.
All right.
Put him back in
Roll
the cage.
Tide, baby.
All right, see ya. See, that's Stan from LA. Let's go right back to the phones. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Mick, it's Ice, man.
Ice, baby. What's up, Ice? You got to love that one, man.
Man, I do. But you know what's crazy? Because if you would have told me that because you had the foresight that the winning team was going to have 24 points, I probably would have said Georgia. I honestly thought that we would have probably needed to put up at least like 35 to win this game. And we won it defensively. That's impressive. Yeah. I love the effort that I saw. I love that. That almost felt like vintage Alabama, almost, because like they were just not letting up. It was kind of like that John Chavis style, like bend don't break defense, and that was amazing. Holy cow, that was great. I was gonna just take a jab at the kicker, but Stan from LA already beat me to it. Man, that I really don't have all the words for it. I'm glad Jam's back. He does look like he's effective. Could be more explosive. I wish we could get more explosivity out of the run game. But wow, Mick. I feel a lot better about this team. This team did not make too many mistakes. And hey, what were they saying about us on the road? Mick, can you remind me of that one real quick?
Yeah.
What were they saying about us on the road?
We were soft on the road, and we weren't soft in this game today. You know?
Yeah, I didn't see it. And
No.
who had more penalties?
You know what? This may have been the
Georgia.
game. This may have been the game where Caleb DeBoer's team finally had less penalties because, and I think you're right. I'm looking at it right now. I was impressed by all the things they were doing and not getting penalties. That the offensive line really wasn't jumping off sides. Yeah, Bama, 4 penalties for 16 yards. Wow. And Georgia, 6 penalties for 68 yards. That's crazy, right?
And I mean, honestly, that's a wow. Because I mean, if you would have told me that Georgia would have had more penalties than Alabama, that would have been that I wouldn't have believed it. But I mean, I think it should have been 3. I didn't really agree with that targeting call either. That just looked like a football play. It really did.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought it was bullshit.
I hate that about targeting.
I mean, the guy's going in for the feet. You know, you're going in to try to knock the ball. It's not like he went and hit somebody in the head with his helmet. You know, I didn't even know that you could kick somebody out for that.
Well, you know, these refs, they actually expect these guys that weigh, upwards of 200 pounds to just completely defy gravity whenever they're going full force at somebody. They just want them to completely stop. You know, I think there's only one guy on the team that can actually do that. It's Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
But they expect that from everybody. Yeah, that's what it is, you know. This is great. I mean, if we would have played like this week 1, I don't think we would have been having to sit here and heavily criticize this team in the first place. This was great. I hope that this continues going in the next week. I expect it to. I can't wait to see what Josh Pate has to say about this. And before I hop off, I just wanted to go shout out to Alabama hockey for tying up the series against Georgia. That was great. First time watching Alabama hockey, and if you get a chance, it's really cool. They're going to be in Birmingham coming up soon playing Tennessee, so hopefully they can beat them.
Awesome, man. Well, Ice, thanks for calling in, brother, and roll tide to you.
Roll tide.
Ice baby calling in. I'm going to get to some more of your calls. Let me hit these super chats. Let me thank you guys again for the super chats. Thunder the Barbarian. Were you surprised Kirby punted? I ain't complaining, but he completely misread the situation. I was, but I mean, I don't know that he was really confident that his offense was going to get a first down, Thundar. I think that he was kind of looking at they ran the ball effectively, and that swarm defense doesn't really stop the run. It just slows it down, but and where you are effective against it is when you score and you have a lead, or you put them in a situation where they got that holding penalty and it pushed them back, and it's hard. I know they got the first down, but still, it was like it looked like a mile to get a first down. When you kind of take that the runaway and they had to throw the ball. And I thought Bama was getting after it pretty good. They were causing some havoc in the backfield. With all these injuries, to see them still affect the quarterback, maybe not get sacks, but affect the quarterback. They gave up big plays, big gashing runs, but then they came back. The other thing, and I like this too, they didn't do this against Florida State, was they ran the guys down, even on the big plays. Like, go get the tackle. They did that. And I appreciate it. I think we all do. That's what we wanted, right? Like, just give me the effort. And the effort was there. It seems to always be there when they play Georgia. But, yeah, I was surprised that he punted. I'm always glad when they punt. Unless they go for it on 4th down and we stop them. And they could have kicked the field goal. If they'd have kicked the field goal, it'd have been tied, and we'd be in overtime right now. They went for the win, and it was a huge mistake by them, in the game. And, and Bama's now, and as great as Kirby's been, Bama's now 7-1 or 1-7 against Kirby, and he's like arguably the best coach in football. So good for him. Well, good for Alabama, bad for him, and loved every minute of it. This was impressive, just because Bama came out from the very start of this game and brought intensity. And we do this all the time, right? And when Shula was the coach, it was like, don't even do it, because you're going to blow it anyway. But you know what? Saban came along, fourth quarter program, and it meant something. It really meant something to take it to the next level in the fourth quarter. And you put that up there, and it was like, hey, let's go. And I remember when we were turning it around in 2008, games like the blackout, even though Alabama had the big lead, LSU, we hadn't beaten them in a while, right? Auburn, beating them. The fourth quarter program meant that when the game was on the line at the end, you were going to be ready to go. In the business part of the game, you were ready to do business. And they did today. And I love them for it. But I'm going to say this too. Now, I predict that they would win this game. And the reason why is that this isn't where DeBoer's had trouble. He's had the team up for the big games. It's when Vanderbilt's coming to town next week. Are they going to be ready? Are they going to be ready for Missouri? Are they going to be ready for South Carolina? Are they going to be ready for all these games that you're supposed to win that they weren't winning? That's the question moving forward. But I'll tell you what, you got to give them a ton of credit for beating Georgia again this year, because now, and this game keeps Alabama in the race. You lose this one, all of a sudden you're looking at 2-2, and your chances of the postseason, start to go down. This also gives you a signature victory. This is the best win of any wins in college football this year. It is. Going to Georgia and beating Georgia on their home turf is a bigger win than anyone else has had. If Oregon beats Penn State, and it may be over right now, I don't have it on in here. If they beat Penn State hasn't beaten anybody anyway. Georgia's beaten everyone except Alabama. And that continued tonight. Seth King, thank you for the super chat, brother. Here's a case of Modelo. What a freaking masterpiece by Grubb. Man, I'm telling you right now, we did the whole thing out here today. Down in Fairhope, we had the seafood, we had the shrimp and the crabs, and we had the beer, we had it all. And it was fantastic, Seth. So thank you, man. And that super chat will cover a Modelo. It's like an 18-pack. I'll throw a couple more bucks in there. We'll get to 24. I love it. Love it. And what a great win for Alabama. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And, guys, when you come on the line, just do us a favor. Just get to it so we can get to the next caller. I don't think we're going to hear from any of those Tennessee fans today, although they did win. They got out of Starkville by the skin of their teeth. And they didn't do what we did tonight at home last week. All right, who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, this is Clint.
Clint, what is up, man? How's it going in Birmingham tonight?
Oh, man, I can't believe what just happened. I didn't think we were going to win until just right at the end. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Hey, it was a nail biter. I mean, look, I don't even have any nails.
I didn't have any belief in our defense. Then they stepped up. They really did. I just can't believe it. So, how you doing, man? Tell me about how you're feeling about it.
Look, man, I feel like let me throw some stats on the screen. Hit these from ESPN just so I can kind of talk about it with you guys. But Clint, I feel like Alabama had to have this game. Ty Simpson, 24 of 38, 2 touchdowns, 276 yards. Man, the guy throws a crisp football. I mean, he gets back in the pocket, and he rips off some just accurate throws. And he wasn't perfect tonight, but he was better than Stockton, who was 13 of 20 with a touchdown and 130 yards. He didn't have the run support that Georgia had, but he's a leader too, man. I mean, I feel like Ty Simpson's kind of turned that corner when it comes to like taking over as the face of this team and leading these guys. And that's been fun to watch, right? I thought that the defense played really inspired. And you look and it's like they've had a lot of bad luck, but they still go out there and they fight really hard. I thought that was impressive. as well. And this is look, these games are all pretty good, but the crazy thing to me is we find a way to win these things. And I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We really dug deep on defense. And didn't you just know that Georgia was gonna find a way to shut down our offense? Didn't you just knew it was coming, and we were gonna have to find a way to, whatever you call it, live through it.
Yeah, right. Deal with adversity. Right.
You knew that was coming, right?
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Chuck.
Oh, such a good win. Such a good win, Mick. I know you probably you got a lot of people that want to comment. I haven't called in this year so far, and just such a good win.
Man, suck it up. Enjoy it. 24 hours. And we got another big matchup coming up next Saturday against Vanderbilt at home. But I mean, this is a really really
Not
good
the
win.
Same Bandy.
No, this is a good Vanderbilt team. Really good.
This is great. This is a really good team. I mean, they haven't played Georgia yet, but they're good. We got to watch out.
Look, this is Vandy's been like 5-0 for the first time in I don't know what, since the 50s or something. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. But we'll get locked in on that. I mean, I'm still enjoying this, and I just love the fact that Bama plays their best against Georgia. Georgia, to me, and you guys can get in the comments section and tell me, their fan base is amongst the most pretentious of any of the fan bases, and that makes them annoying to me. Like I don't dislike them. Like Tennessee's fans are calling here playing Rocky Top when we lost to Florida State. Then, game day's there and they're all like, chanting F Bama and all that stuff. That's not the way. That's not the way.
I may have told you before.
Yeah, they're not like this. They're just barking at you.
I may have told you before how I feel about. I may have told you before how I feel about Georgia, but I hate them, man. They're the worst. Their fans are the worst. Go work over there spend a couple of years working over there. Yeah. They're the worst fans. They're worse than any of the others.
Well, look, Clint,
I hate them.
You got your night. We took care of business, and it was a really from the beginning of the game to the end. I mean, we had a bad third quarter, and that was it. We won the first two and we won the last one. If this was a fight, we won the fight. Do I have respect for the way they play football? Yeah, they're good. To beat them, you got to play a good game. You got to play a good to great game. Yeah, I mean, you don't. What I love about Georgia is they're the old Alabama. You can beat them, but they're not going to give it to you. And that's kind of how I sit on this.
That's right.
Anyway, well, Roll Tide, brother. Thanks for calling in, and let's get together soon. All right, see you. Talk to you next time, Clint. See you, man. All right, from one Clint to another Clint. Let's bring him on. This guy just had his birthday. Feeling good about life,
brother.
Man, what a game, huh?
Were you nervous, man?
I'll be honest with you. I picked Alabama, and the reason why is that this game to me, I said this Friday on my tailgate show. Look, I'm more worried about Vandy than this game. Not because I think Georgia's, Vanderbilt's better, but because half of our team's been recruited by them. These guys have been playing on all-star teams against each other. You're playing your best football against those guys if you're at Alabama. We have just as much talent as they do. And it's been an effort issue to me. When the game started, I mean, like Clint said, I was nervous. I mean, because they're good too. But when it ended, I'm like, I'm not shocked by it. I know that they have all of the talent, and this too, to do that. But you know what? When tomorrow ends, you got to start getting ready for Vanderbilt. And that's where they fell off last year, right? And then after that, you got to get ready for Missouri. And then after that, you got to get ready for Tennessee. There's no let up on the schedule. And the tough part about the parity that we have in the SEC now is that anybody can beat you even at Alabama if you're not at your best. So,
I mean, Mick, it was they did what they needed to do. Was it pretty? No, especially at times. Defensively, it wasn't pretty. The run defense looked atrocious. I mean, Connor Talty's field goal. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still going left.
Yikes.
There were ugly moments for sure, but Alabama, what they had such a problem with, especially on the road in the past, was being able to handle adversity. And they were faced with a lot of it tonight. And every step of the way, they figured out a way. Like, they needed to be able to run the football late in that game. They found what they needed to find in order to do that. Now, granted, what they were, it was the first down run, setting up some second and manageable, second and shorts. Obviously, we're getting stopped. Georgia was selling out. They knew they needed to get a stop. And then you had just an epic play call on third and 1 by Ryan Grubb. I mean, just pretty much the entire way. It was beautiful. I mean, you couldn't have asked for the Ryan Grubb. Did he have a couple of moments that I would be like, I probably would have went in a different direction? We all can hindsight it all we want to.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was a masterful performance from him. Ty Simpson managed the game extremely well. Also had some lapses where it didn't look perfect, but you're in a tough, hostile road environment against a top 5 team, and you have little to no run game, or at least consistency to lean on, and yet you figure out a way to have a very, very respectable performance throwing the football. Command for the offense did not ever look rattled. I mean, if you're an Alabama fan, you can't really be more proud of these guys.
No, I'm with you, man. And look, super chats. Thank you guys. Danko, good to see you, man. A long time part of what we do, man. And thank you for the super chat. Michael, thank you for the super sticker. Roll Tide to you. Thundar, fight on, man. Remember the blackout. We'll win then. I thought they were going to black out again. And my thing was, is it Kalen DeBoer blacking out with his gear because he's like 11-1 now, or 10-1 when he wears black? Or is Georgia really going to tempt fate again? And I'm glad they didn't, because now we don't have to hear that it's because they wore black uniforms.
I mean, I'm glad they didn't, because that would have been just a foolish move. Like, from there was already, and granted, I guess it would have been a way for them to lean in and say, look, all this Bama voodoo that we got going on, we're going to lean into all of it because we don't believe in it. Like, maybe it would have been a chance to make that type of statement. But either way, just coming out the gate, and it wasn't overly shocking, to be honest. It's like the way you looked against Florida State, as far as the way that you were very vanilla offensively. You didn't put a lot on tape. I think they thought they were really going to be able to control that game and win that game without having to do a lot. It's a mistake that they have made multiple times in the last couple of years, and it's something that they have to get fixed moving forward. But, I think that you set that up for this type of performance where some of the things that they have put on tape, and I'll be talking about this throughout the week, I think they built off that really well. I think they kept Georgia off balance early, and I do think Georgia responded well. That's the kind of football team that this team is. Yeah. I mean, they're never going to lay down, even if everything seems to be going against them. And I will say, I was watching it with a couple of buddies, and I had one buddy say it has felt like the way that the game has felt, it's felt like Georgia has been the one playing with the lead for the entire game, and they never held the lead. Yeah. So, it was just Alabama in a very odd fashion. They figured out a way to get it done. But once again, the most important, most critical piece of all of it is the fact that they overcame obstacles and adversity to get the win in a hostile environment against a very good football team. That is stepping up and answering the bell when everybody questioned that about this Kalen DeBoer-led team.
Yeah. Rex told us that the ball came through his living room windows.
Hope you get it signed, Rex.
I'm watching it, and it would have been nice for him to make that kick. But I don't know, he's made some. I thought it was going to be a lot worse, to be honest with you. So, man, that shows you where I'm at on this, right? I just thought it was worse. Todd says this. that call on Smith that got him kicked out of the game, I thought it was complete bullshit. I'm sorry, but I just did. I'm going, are you kidding me? When they were reviewing it, I was laughing. I was like, no way. And then they kicked him out, and I was like, whoa. I didn't know that going, like, trying, like, your head hits the football now, and that's targeting.
Well, and that's what I really, knowing the rule, I don't know if it's just the fact that he led. So, I mean, everybody at this point understands that they're trying to protect the defensive players as much as the offensive players. The problem that I have with it, though, the inconsistency is that they don't call that on offensive players when sometimes a running back will go in there leading with the crown of his helmet and just blow somebody up. And if it's blatantly obvious, they will call it. But that happens a lot more with offensive players, in my opinion, than defensive players. And the inconsistency on that call is what is frustrating. Based off of trying to protect James Smith from James Smith, I understand the call. Now, if you made contact with the football, I mean, I have no idea if that affects the rule or not. Like, people could be 100% right. And so I would love, if anybody's got the replay on Twitter, I would love for you to tag me in at Clint R. Lamb. I'm probably going to get blown up with 100 people doing this, but I kind of hope so, because I want to go see it again. And just try to figure out exactly what went wrong on that rule. It was unfortunate because now he's going to miss the first half of the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah,
and you already got Tim Keenan, who did return, but he didn't start. And he had some good moments, but he's not 100%. And Quay Russaw, I have no idea the severity of his injury. That's a major concern. So, I mean, there's a lot to still figure out, but at the end of the day, you have to be glad that Alabama figured out a way to get the win.
You know that when somebody's like, roll Tide, roll. The reason I'm telling you that is that I'm throwing that up on the screen. Everybody hit like at the same time. Give us a big roll, man. I need one of those right now. I mean, this is a signature win. I mean, when you think about it, man, like 33 straight.
I mean, 33 straight. I mean, you break their home win streak. It's now what, 10-1? The last 11 games for Alabama. Obviously the one that you didn't get was a pretty big one in a national title game. It was
everything
in a rematch,
went
though,
their way injury wise.
And it was a rematch, and it's always tough to beat a team twice. So
yeah, in like a couple
Alabama's
weeks.
just they've seemed to have this figured out as far as Georgia. Doesn't mean that you're always going to beat Georgia, but I mean, considering imagine everybody in a lot of ways they view Kirby Smart in Georgia as being the closest thing in this current era that you can possibly get to what Alabama had under Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And yet they can't get over the Alabama problem. Like, that is such a big deal for Alabama to, for Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff to have game. And I'm concerned about Kane Womack once again. There was a couple of specific things. First of all, Jan Zapier playing to the boundary. I'd worry going into the game that they were going to run right at him because he's not a great run stopper. I did see a couple of moments where that was pretty evident that that's exactly what they were trying to do, and they had success. Now, granted, he also held up a couple of times on a couple of run stopping reps where he looked pretty good. So I don't want to say it was all bad. He actually surprised me a little bit, but there's still some inconsistency there, and I think Georgia took advantage. And then also, there were some other issues as well, but just while I am concerned about mugging the linebackers, having them go backwards on their first step, Georgia popped them quick. I mean, they used that against them on one occasion that stood out. It was a very.
You're talking about the one dude they all back up and the guy runs right through the hole for about 60 yards.
He was right by him before they could even. I mean, they hadn't even fully taken their steps back before he was already at the second level where they're at. I mean, and that's the frustrating part. In Georgia, they had that dialed up. They were ready for that. They said, we're going to make them pay for that. If they want to do this on these early downs, we're going to make them pay for it. I still don't like it. I understand that it has its benefits at times. I don't think it outweighs some of the cons, but at the same time, overall, the defense did get, some key stops and some key moments when I thought Alabama's going to have to score every time they touch the football from here on out, because
that's how the game started.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it felt in the second half. When Georgia started running down their throats, it's like, I don't see a Georgia drive not ending in points. So Alabama's got to keep their foot on the gas. And yet Alabama didn't score a single point in the second half, and Alabama won the game. So give the defense credit for that, because if you would have told me Alabama's not scoring a point in the second half with the way things started in the second half, I'd have said Georgia's going to win by 2 touchdowns. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Give them a lot of credit.
Kevin Nichols, is that you, brother? Thank you, man. One of my OGs from Bama, Roll Tide. Backyard legend. We talked about that targeting call. Thank you. Appreciate that so much. Let's do a couple calls, guys. Clint, you can't hear Clint, right? So you got to just tell us what you're thinking, and then we're going to get off and chew on it. So just kind of throw out your thoughts, throw a question out there, and we'll hit it. Who's this? Where you calling from?
Andrew, I'm calling from Knoxville. I'm not a Tennessee fan. Relax.
We got pranked by one after the Florida State game, and
last year too.
Last year too.
It, man. And
call back now. I mean, I'm just kidding.
I unfortunately work in Knoxville. And these have been the longest 4 weeks of the start to any season I can remember.
Well, what'd you think, man?
Oh man, just absolutely thrilled. Just wanted to shout out two Georgia players, the guy that jumped in the pile, going back, and the guy who dropped the touchdown pass. Couldn't have done this without you guys. Really appreciated that.
God. The jump on the pile guy.
The only thing
stupid. Dumb.
Yeah, as it went to commercial, it showed Kirby look at him and say lock in, and I guarantee you he went back and went, "You said jump in, coach, right?"
I saw that. I was like, did that guy just do that? And it wasn't our guy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
That cost them the game. Look, that lost them the game. I saw the drop touchdown, and I thought, well,
Agreed.
Ryan Williams did the same thing. So that was a trade-off. We just didn't have somebody with just a completely boneheaded penalty. And this team, this is the most prepared a team's been since Kalen DeBoer's been head coach. And the penalties spoke the truth about
Agreed.
that. We were great on the offensive line, not jumping off, and it's loud in there.
Yeah, I would have bet my house that we were going to lose the penalty battle today or tonight.
First time we haven't.
Yeah, wild. But the only question I really had was how concerned are you and also Clint with the play of Damani Jackson tonight?
Ooh, good question for Clint. Andrew, thank you for calling, and Roll Tide all the way up there in Knoxville tonight.
Hey, Roll Tide, brother. Let's have a day, man.
Yeah, let's have it. We'll get to that question right now. Clint, perfect question for you, Damani Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth being concerned about. There's no doubt. He plays like a first round pick at times. He really does. The height, the weight, the length, the athleticism. I didn't like how when he got beat on the double move early, he responded. And, I thought he kind of very quickly gave up. Now, granted, you weren't getting the player. I just felt like, hey, you just got beat. You haul your ass downfield the best of your ability because you're a 4-4 kind of guy, sub 4-4 kind of guy. You need to, show everybody, hey, I know I screwed up, but I'm not giving up on this play. I just didn't like that because it was a problem against Florida State. Not for him necessarily, but just for other guys and not finishing or knowing that they're not going to be able to make a play and giving up on it and loafing. But it was the lack of physicality, and that's been a problem for him at times. Last year I thought he was a little bit more physical until a late season injury, which I think was a rib injury. And then it became a little bit more understandable. Like against Michigan, I thought he didn't play physical at all. And, that was a concern. But then when you can point and say, hey, man, I mean, if you bust my ribs up, I probably ain't going to be slinging myself around them and trying to hit people as well. Obviously missed some time in the off season due to that injury. But at this point, if you're going to be a liability like that, as far as coming up and stopping the run and kind of willing to mix things up and be aggressive and physical, then, Dijon Lee will certainly do his best to do that. Cam Calhoun's a scrappy guy. He'll certainly do his best to do that. You need to get somebody else in there who will. And I'm not one of these type of people where it's like one poor performance, I'm going to jump ship on somebody because, even this past week, I was saying he's got first round, day 1, day 2 type of talent. But I felt like Georgia saw some of that lack of physicality on tape, and they said, we're going to take advantage of it. and we're going to take the fight to him. And when you do take the fight to him, sometimes he don't like it very much.
Yeah.
And they were, because the Wolf is playing to the boundary side when you're in those 4-2-5 looks or 3-3-5, however you want to call it, or whatever you want to call it. When the Wolf is playing to the boundary, and it was Jan Pierre out there, especially when Quay Russaw went out early, I thought they're probably going to run to the boundary quite a bit. And that means that Damani Jackson, who is that boundary corner a lot of the time, he's going to have to be physical. And I just don't feel like he responded well. And that's something that's got to get fixed, because Xavier Brown, you hate the hold there on the goal line, but he's going to be a guy who plays really hard, and he's going to play physical. And you can't have a team look at your defense and say, well, might not be able to do a whole lot on the perimeter as far as the screens and things like that to this side, but we're going to be able to get number one. You don't want them looking at it that way. So that's something that he's definitely got to get fixed.
Cotton, thank you for the super chat, man. Love the hat and your meme there too. Great game, great team effort, great QB play, great play call to end the game. I love that play call, by the way. I was like, the second down play, I was like, what are we doing? And then the third down play, I'm like, we're doing that all game. Yeah. Vandy, you're next. I'm ready. I'm nervous about Vanderbilt, but I think that we're going to have to play a great game to beat them too, man. They're hot right now, but thank you, Cotton. I like that too. And then Brandon, Brandon from DC, he is an all-American caller. He said, great squad win. Don't give up on Hollywood. I know, because Clint will give us all a lecture about that, won't you, Clint? But he still had some catches in this game. He's got amazing ability. He took a mean hit and held onto the football. That was one of the biggest catches of the game. That first down we were backed up. I mean, I know we didn't score, but we flipped the field position. Second half was a battle of field position. He's got to get his confidence back on those deep balls. He's got a little case of the drops going right now. He's got to get over that, right? Didn't Saban say you're called a receiver because you're supposed to receive the ball, right?
That is, and that's in the job description for sure.
Yeah, in there. Our linebackers need to get ready for Vandy. Look, it's going to be a battle next week. We're preview it on the channel all week long. But Roll Tide, thank you, Brandon. Iceman jumped in. Look at Proctor's rushing stats. Yeah. Let's see here.
1 carry, 11 yards.
Yeah.
Averaging 11 yards a carry. Mick, did you think it was, and you might not have noticed, but played a lot of guys on the offensive line and some guys in some new spots. Like they moved Wilkin Formby from right tackle to right guard. They bring in Michael Carroll. Wilkin, I thought that protects him from edge speed.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, as far as a lack of power and just drive, like he got bigger and more physical this offseason, which I guess helps. But I just don't feel like he provides like a really physical presence at tackle. So in some ways I was surprised by that. But at the same time, I mean, maybe that is a potential solution. But you saw a lot of Will Sanders come in at left guard.
Yeah.
I thought he played pretty well. You saw, obviously Caden Proctor, they'd bring, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank on his name? The freshman left tackle, Jackson Lloyd.
Yeah,
you see Jackson Lloyd come in, and then they'd use him as kind of an extra offensive lineman, but really it was Caden Proctor that became that extra guy, and Jackson Lloyd would line up at left tackle. Thought that was creative and definitely something that opposing defenses are going to have to put on tape moving forward. I liked a lot. Now, granted, a lot of people are like, hey, put some guys out there and let them gel. But I think that they're still trying to figure this group out because there's too much talent. And if they find the right combination and it clicks, I still think this could be a really good offensive line. And you've got guys like Michael Carroll. Is he ready to be a full-time every down starter? Probably not. But he's doing enough where it's like he's trending there. So hey, let's get him there. And I love that they played him in some critical moments in a very hostile environment against a very good defensive front. I think that experience was very valuable for him. A guy like Will Sanders, is he there yet? Maybe not, but he's doing some things enough in practice where like, hey, he could be our solution at guard. Cam Newberry has done some good things, but as far as the complete package, having the athleticism, he's getting better in pass protection. I really think that he could end up providing something there at left guard long term. So it's like, by the end of the season, you could have this group figured out. I understand the frustrations with all the rotation, but I think there's a method behind the madness, and I think Alabama will eventually benefit from it.
How about the play where Caden Proctor caught the pass?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it was. I guess they called it a run, but was that not beautiful, man?
And it's not a run. He caught it.
He did catch it. Yeah, you know what? I like that. You're 100% right. Don't you take away the fact that those hands. Not everybody on the field was catching all the passes, and he goes 1 for 1.
No, it was a pass. Okay.
It was behind, it was behind the line of scrimmage, but he caught it, and I think that should be reflected. There should be an asterisk by that run because that was a catch.
Yeah, I was like, wow, running. No, man, he caught it, and it was like watching him ball people over. I just wish he would have got into the end zone on that one. All right, back to the phone lines again. Make your point, and then Clint and I will chew on it. And if you got a question, throw that out there. But thank you for waiting online. Who's this, and where you calling from?
Hey, Roll Tide, Mick. This is Stan from Birmingham.
Stan from Birmingham. I know you're happy tonight, Stan. Roll Tide.
Oh, Roll Tide, Mick. Listen, it seems like that to me that this is. It seems like it's been a long time since I've seen our defense bow up in the way that they bowed up when they needed to bow up.
That's true.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
I was honestly like some of those plays that they went for it on 4th down and we stopped them. That's a hell of a play, man. I mean, I know, just getting back in there and causing havoc. And I thought they're going to call a timeout and tie the game. And when they didn't, I was like, I think they might have just lost right there. You know, I'm concerned sometimes with the ability of them to stop the run with that swarm defense. But I mean, you're right, man. In this game, they made plays.
That's right. That's exactly what I was referring to. Second, I think this is Kalen DeBoer. This is his first game where he really probably understands the intensity of a first-class SEC matchup. I mean, going back to last year and everything, it just seems like that this is his first real taste of SEC big-time football, the way it played out tonight.
Well, it's on his shoulders. It's on his shoulders now. You can tell there's a different intensity with him. I feel it every time I see him talk.
You know he's been feeling this heat for the last 2 weeks.
I want him to do well. I really like the guy. I really want him to do well.
I do too. And I hope he can get the word to his team. If they don't stay crisp next week, Vanderbilt will beat them. Vanderbilt is capable of beating them.
Yeah.
If they don't stay crisp. And one other thing, Mick, and I'd like you and Clint's take on this. When Ryan Grubb, when he's in his flow, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing the way he sets up plays. But he drives me nuts sometimes, and I want to know if it does y'all too. I'm not talking about late in the game when he's running the ball straight into the line of scrimmage, to like play out the game. But I'm talking about like even going back, especially it seems like it was in the 3rd quarter. He'll run like 2 plays consecutively. He'll hand off to Jam straight, or whoever the running back is, straight into the line, and you see all that beef up there, and they're going to get maybe 1 yard. And to me, I know offensive coordinators, they're like setting up for like down, for 2 or 3 plays later. But it seems like to me, he's just wasting 1st and 2nd or 2nd and 3rd down. But it drives me nuts when he hands the ball off like that, and they go for 1 yard straight into the line. I mean, I wish he would just change it up and alternate it up a little bit, do a little bit something different.
Right.
And I'd like to get y'all's take on it.
Stan, thank you for the call, and we're going to talk about it right now. Roll Tide, my friend.
Thank you, Mick. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Great call there, Stan. All right, Clint, I'm going to agree with him. Like, I thought that last drive, the second down play, I'm like, we just hand it off, run right ahead, like just tackle us. But then it's set up for that third down play. They have to run the ball, right? Because you can't be one-dimensional. But Bama's just not getting a whole lot of push up front, and that's probably part of it, right?
Well, I mean, after some games, we're saying, hey, Ryan Grubb's abandoning the run too dadgum much.
Right.
It's too easy to abandon the run. And then he stays committed to the run. And we're like, why are you running it? Which I understand because I find myself watching the game thinking the same thing. There is a method behind the madness. Now, I don't know if it was really him setting up or trying to set up for the run to set up for something else necessarily. In some ways, early, I thought everything he was throwing at Georgia, he was hoping that was going to set up more success as far as the inside run,
right?
Or just running the football in general. But at the same time, what I will say, you got to give them credit. I'm glad they stayed committed to the run late in that game because when they really needed some early down, first down success, when it was critical, and I had a bunch of people tweeting me, and I got to be honest with you, I was agreeing with all of them prior to that drive, but it was like, this is where you really need to be able to run the football. And a lot of people did not have any faith in Alabama being able to run the football. And in those second and shorts or, third and shorts, running the football, they didn't have success in the fourth quarter. But on first down, they were really setting things up where at least they had everything open. They could take that, they could run the football on second down. And even if they didn't get anything, it was a very manageable third down situation, which is what puts you in a position to be able to dial up that third down play call to win you the football game. So, I mean, I understand the frustration, but at the same time, we do need to understand it's either he's abandoning the run or he needs to stay committed to the run. Like it can't just be how things play out on the field. We're going to get mad at him regardless because, if he would have completely abandoned the run and we hadn't seen how poor it looked, a lot of us would be saying, you need to commit to the run a little bit more. Things stalled out a little bit in the second half, and they wouldn't really have anything to go off of. I understand once again the frustration, but at the same time, brother, they ran the football when they needed to, and they had a couple of really good runs. I thought Kevin Riley had a couple of good ones. I thought Jam, he played inspired football. It was great to see him back, but I think as they get more comfortable, and I thought Danny Lewis, he came back in this game, and I don't think that he started, but he played. Thought the blocking out on the perimeter for him was pretty good on a couple of occasions that I noticed. Some of the inline stuff, he's still not 100%. It was a game time decision going in. Secondly, there would be some rust after having not played at all so far this season. When you consider that and you consider the environment and the defense that he was playing, I thought he played a pretty good game, and I think he's going to make an impact as far as being able to block and open up some of the, off tackle, off tight end stuff, C-gap to sideline reads for the running backs. So that is something to keep an eye on. I think this will slowly start to come together because you're also not going to be playing or facing Georgia's run defense every week. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. I would love to see us run the ball more effectively, but when you look at the stats from this ball game, Bama was 3 yards short of 400 against Georgia. And, and they got 117 yards rushing. I thought, they had to have over 100 to win the game. They did. It wasn't pretty, but, Jam Miller had 46 yards to lead the team. But 397 yards, they did enough to allow themselves to pass the ball. And they're making more dynamic plays now in the pass game. And I think that's a part of this too, right? Which you got to be able to take advantage of the pass by setting it up with the run. And so I like that as well. Now let's go back. Let's go to the super chat here. Tarek wants to know, Roll Tide, does anybody else get frustrated by all the rotations between the O-line and the D-line? This is definitely a question for Clint.
I talked about the offensive line, but I'll reiterate. I mean, I think there's a method behind that madness. I think it's going to pay off in the long run. I don't feel like guys are quite ready to take over, and you're trying to win football games. Like, there's no such thing as, hey, let's just throw them out there and let them work through growing pains. If that guy doesn't give you the best chance as a full-time player to win the football game, then, you want him getting experience. You want what he brings in certain situations. But you also are not ready to hand him the reins full time. But I think it's good from developing some depth. That's not why they're doing it. They're not throwing these guys out against Georgia and saying, hey, it sure would be nice if we could develop some depth. And it's like to their detriment. I just think that they haven't quite figured out the combination of guys, but they know they got talent. And granted, I thought there were some times that the tackles were vulnerable and there could have been pressure, but the fact that the interior held up so well, Ty Simpson had a clean pocket to step up into and deliver the football, especially early on. That give the interior guys a ton of credit. As far as the defensive backs, once again, they got talented guys, and the more experience you get Dijon Lee, the better I think he's going to get. I think he can help you down the stretch. I think he provides a very unicorn type of defender. And, as long as he's not a complete liability when he is out there, I say you keep letting it roll and getting him some snaps where you can and when you can. And also, if Damani Jackson continues to play the way that he did tonight, I think you want to be rotating some of these guys. But one of the things as far as defensive backs, Mick, gosh, man, let's continue to give Bray Hubbard praise, man.
Yeah.
He played inspired football, physical. It's funny because a lot of the takes that we had the offseason takes, hey, I think Ty Simpson is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the country. After week 1, according to a lot of people, that was a foolish take. It doesn't look so foolish now. Not saying he's going to continue to do that all year and I'm going to take my victory lap in week 5 after beating Georgia, but I will say it doesn't look as crazy as it did 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You talk about Bray Hubbard and me saying going into the season that I felt like this guy had first round ability. And after the first week, the way he was loafing, I mean, I had a lot of people finding that TikTok and that tweet.
Yeah.
And they were and rightfully so with the way it looked. I mean, you can only go off of what we actually see, but to his credit, he's made that not look like it's such an absurd take the last 3 games. Give him credit for that because, with the way that this could have gone, this team has responded well. This was the test. You had seen it against Louisiana Monroe. Everything looked great. They did what they could to impress us. You saw it against Wisconsin. But going into Athens, this was the test. The next test is how do you respond to success? We know how you responded to adversity and everybody turning against you, essentially. But how are you going to respond when everybody tries to start jumping back on the bandwagon and they start singing your praises again?
Yeah.
That's the next
The rat
box
poison's coming out now.
It is. It's 100 because they went into
Don't buy
Athens
it.
and they snapped a winning streak against Georgia, and they beat Georgia despite the motivation and the crowd having the extra motivation and everything else. People will be singing their praises. How did they respond moving forward will be a critical piece. But give Bray Hubbard and a lot of these other guys credit. He is playing damn good football right now, Mick. Really good football.
Yeah. I thought backyard legend. I did think the pass blocking took a major step forward. I think it's been good the last 3 games. And when Ty Simpson's back there and you give him a little bit of time, man, the dude is just he just throws a good ball. His timing's getting better, right? But he's so accurate, and he's only going to get better. He's commanding the offense. And here's one from one of our Georgia friends. Sound FX09. He said, y'all guys still own us. I won't deny that, but man, how many 5-star classics are we going to have?
Great point.
Look, I said that at the beginning of the show. Man, a lot of respect for the way Georgia plays. I mean, we know that formula because it started in Alabama.
They don't lay down.
No, they're a tough team, man. Kirby's a great coach. If you're going to beat Georgia, you have to do all the little things right. And I thought Alabama played about as perfect of a game as you could when it comes to not turning the ball over and not making a whole lot of mistakes. The defense, that swarm defense, I'm not a fan of it. It's going to give up big yards. I think the way that you overcome it is you play with the lead. I think it's a better defense to play with the lead than have to come from behind, right? Because they'll just chew up the clock. But I mean, Georgia's going to be there in the end. And I think they're going to make the playoff. I think they're going to be there in the end. They've had back-to-back games where they've had dogfights, pun intended. They figured out a way to beat Tennessee, and they lost to us. But they're going to be they're just going to be there. I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't know any team in college football that really has the depth that teams used to have, Alabama and Georgia included, and so
Well, I mean, yeah,
that's part of it.
Well, one of the things, we talked about on the show this week is even a team like Georgia, who is a top 5 team going into this game, it's the closest thing as far as it was built to Nick Saban's image, and Georgia's continued to recruit at an elite level. And they still had vulnerabilities. The cornerback spot opposite Dalen Everett, and even Dalen Everett was a liability at times, and that wasn't just dumb penalties either, but it's a liability, and so everybody's dealing with it because of portal. I mean, Julian Humphrey ends up transferring out. He was a starter for Georgia last year. He would probably be starting for them this year. And was he a problem last year? Absolutely. But at the same time, I do think that there would at least be a little bit more stability in that secondary with him available and having that experience. But I also want to point out to people, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. I just want to, if you go against the 133rd ranked run defense and you run the ball well, you don't say a lot of, I feel great about the rushing offense now. I'm using a very extreme example to set up and say Georgia has not had a single sack from its defensive front all season long.
Wow.
All of their sacks have come from their linebackers. Now, Chris Cole is a guy who gets some situational reps on the edge. Mm-hmm. It's very, Jahad Campbell-esque in the way that he's used. So, I mean, he has had a sack this year, but they have really struggled to apply pressure on quarterbacks and bring quarterbacks down. So the fact that they were unable to do that against Alabama, you do want to give Alabama's offensive line credit for that, but you also need to keep in mind that was kind of par for the course based off of what we were expecting. So once again, not trying to rain on anybody's parade, just pointing out the context and saying, hey, don't think all the problems are solved now just because of that performance. They got to continue to get better, and they will continue to get better.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And thank you for holding on, and let's talk some Alabama. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Roll Tide. This is G. Ellis from Mobile, Alabama.
Hey, down in our neck of the woods. What's up, G. Ellis? How you doing, man? Roll Tide.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, Roll Tide, man. Hey, so a couple quick hot takes. Again, shout out to my man, the flying guy, the flying dog out there, man. We do appreciate him for all of his efforts in securing that win for us out there. So quick shout out to him and his family. We're going to value him for a long time now.
The flying dog.
The rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. We're going to appreciate him for a long time.
Dog.
I'm going to tell you that right now. Hey, I'm going to tell you, I can actually see it. I looked at my wife and I told her, hey, yo, that screenshot, that's going to be a shirt right there, man. That's the whole thing. Not even going to lie. Shout out to the rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, man. Offensive lineman catching it with the hands and taking it down. And I really, my thoughts and prayers go to whoever that was that made first contact with him. That just, oh man, he just got obliterated by that guy. And good heart for doing it,
Yeah.
Good heart for that kid, man. He gets like +3 on heart,
Yeah.
No, but
you talk about the guy that dove at his legs but didn't even come close.
Oh my gosh. Hey man, yo, hey, +3 on heart right there, guy. Because what are you gonna do? I saw, I think, the best pass blocking I have seen from this Bama unit probably since going back to Saban's next to last year, because it was a little shaky there,
Mm-hmm.
This was solid pass blocking, man. Solid response in the pocket. That one time he got flushed, but the gap was wide open for him to run and get the first down. I mean, that was textbook O-line, man. Them boys was out there. Pun intended, they had that dog in them that night. You know what I mean? That's what you want to see out of that unit. And while I was on hold, we were talking about. I heard a lot about the run game. I like what they're doing with this run game. All right, so it's clear and apparent that we're not really explosive in the run game, but we were in exponentially more manageable situations because of that dinking and the dunking with the run game, 2 yards here, those grinding 3 yards there. But now, hey man, it's 3rd and 4. It's 3rd and 3. Sorry. Take a sip of water here. You guys do a tough job.
The flying
So that was
dog.
great.
Yeah.
I got something. Yeah. So that was great. Like, so I like that run game. Also, the run defense, it really wasn't that upsetting because, like, if you look at it, a couple explosive drives, but for the most part, like, when it counted, and they held, and they got us 5-3 and out. So I like what I see. What I did not like what I saw was at the end of the game, the celebration, looked like they won the Super Bowl out there.
Yeah.
So I agree with whomever it was that said, that next game is crucial. How do you respond? You're up. You look like you ain't never been here before, So what does that mean for you going into the next game? I think it looks good for them, honestly. A lot of people got defined out there like Hubbard. Before this game, who was the guy? Who was the guy we were talking about out there? Who was that heartbeat? It looks like it's going to be this guy right here on defense. Ty Simpson coming through on offense. I really doubted the guy. But, I mean, shoot, man. So I know I threw a lot out there. Actually, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And, shit, man, big Roll Tide, man.
Roll
big
Tide,
Roll Tide.
G.
This is a big Roll Tide winning night tonight, guys.
Yeah, great call.
Yeah.
Great call, G.
Peace and
Ellis.
love, guys.
Roll Tide, man. The flying dog was a guy by the name of Ellis Robinson. Ellis Robinson's the flying dog.
One thing I want to point out, I don't feel like that they had called him down yet. And I feel like that when he came in, he actually got in on the tackle. Now, granted, maybe the ref had blown forward progress, but it still felt like he was working forward. What they missed, in my opinion, it shouldn't have been a roughing the passer. It should have been a targeting.
All right.
I felt like he came in flying with it, leading with the crown of his helmet, and he made helmet-to-helmet contact. So while
he's the flying dog,
while he probably, in my opinion, it depends on what I'd have to go back and watch. But if the ref had not called the runner down yet, which I still don't think that he had quite yet, then I don't think it should have been roughing because I don't think it was late or excessive or anything like that, except for the helmet-to-helmet, which should mean it would have made no difference other than that player would have to be sitting out for the first half of Georgia's next game. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts on that. But that is, either way, it should have been a penalty, just not necessarily the penalty that they called. And yes, definitely thank him because that was very critical in that moment to really put Alabama in much better field position.
Yeah, I mean, but I thought it also changed the momentum too, because at that point I'm wondering, are we going to be able to convert? You're right. The field position wasn't great. We're in the student section. I'm sure there were a lot of people barking down there, and and then to get out of that was kind of like, as G. Ellis said, the flying dog helped us out with that. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Superfly says, y'all keep hating on the run game. They ran just enough. Keep it up. Roll Tide. Hey, look, I think that I kept saying here, I was like, this feels like this is a DeBoer game. I mean, when he was at Washington, they won a lot of these type of games, where they just did. And the guy's won a ton of football games in his career, and he wins them like this, they score and it isn't as dominant on defense as Saban. I still don't think the offense is clicking on all cylinders yet, right? They've got to get the run game going at some point, and there's other things they can do better. But this felt like one of those games where DeBoer kind of what he does, right? And I hope that this continues because, like I said before, I mean, this is where he fell off last year. You won this one last year, and then the team wasn't ready when they were playing Vanderbilt and against Tennessee. And again, it's tough to be ready. But I feel like also that he's changed in some capacity, Clint, and you kind of agreed with me on this. He just feels like a different cat now, where he's just kind of a lot more focused, and he doesn't come off as happy-go-lucky as he was before because it's a tough job, man. I mean, you can't hide it as Alabama's football coach. You can in Washington and Fresno State and, all these other places. And I think that he's kind of figuring out how to deal with that.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. The offense, it was beautiful to start the game. They kept Georgia off balance. They had a great game plan. And here's the thing: they started the second half the same way. This was not how they started the second half against Georgia last year. They went three. They held Georgia to a 3-and-out to start that half. Then they got the football and they went 3-and-out themselves. And Georgia really started to get momentum and things rolling after that. If Alabama scores there last year on that first possession to stack on their lead, that game is over. And we're not even talking about this epic Milroe to Ryan Williams touchdown. But this year they moved the football in the second half and to start the second half. Granted, once again, you get down there, I think it was a penalty, maybe Geno Vandermark, but it kind of put them behind the sticks, ended up having to kick a field goal. It was an awful field goal. But then from that point, it's amazing when you hand the team momentum and you start getting their guys believing. And hey, that's why momentum is such a powerful thing, because guys start believing. Georgia started to respond, but I think that if that doesn't happen and Alabama is able to continue to put their foot on the throat for the entire first drive of the second half, I think Alabama continues to roll pretty much to the extent they did in the first half, and I think you're looking at like 40 plus points. I mean, I really do. That's how these things can change based off of just, a couple of plays. But Ryan Grubb did a phenomenal job, and there was a lull there a little bit. I thought they responded well, but Grubb has a great feel for his personnel right now. He knows what all he has available, and he uses everybody to put strain on the opposing defense. And that if he can't do it with the way that he wants to do it sometimes with the running backs as far as the run game, he will do it with creative ways in the passing game and screens, which is an extension of your run game. So it just, to me, I think I think this is a dangerous offense. Like, I agree with you that, like, hey, there's still some kinks that need to be worked out, but overall they're starting to play some really good football. I also I said this when they hired Grubb. I don't want him getting all of the credit for things looking a little bit closer to being fixed. He does deserve a lot of credit, and I thought he called a masterful game plan. But I think that to an extent, things were going to get fixed anyways. I think the quarterback offensive marriage was going to be a lot more aligned. I thought, just some of the pieces that they had as far as the wide receiver upgrades that they made. Isaiah Horton was huge in this game, in my opinion. I felt like that you were going to see steps forward regardless. So I don't want to give Ryan Grubb all of that credit, but he certainly deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, thank you, Backyard Legend. You're right. Credit to Ryan Grubb and a great conversation piece. All right, back to the phone lines again. Make your point, and then any kind of questions, and then we'll chew on it, because you guys can't hear Clint when you're on there. Who's this and where you come from?
Roll Tide, fellas. How's it going tonight?
What's up? Roll Tide.
Hey, not much. This is JK calling from Tuscaloosa.
JK from T-Town, man. Title Town.
Oh, guys, I'm thrilled with the victory tonight, but man, I'm still very concerned about the defense. When you're running a basic high school fake reverse, and then just a fullback counter, another basic play that's just basic lane coverage, and we're still looking like crap on defense. And we couldn't stop an old lady nun running down a hill.
So you're not a fan of the swarm, is what you're saying?
I'm not a fan of our defensive plan. I thought our defensive plan wasn't well planned tonight, and I don't think Womack's the man to coach in a elite SEC defense myself. What's your feelings?
Yeah, JK, man, thanks for the question. I'm going to let Clint chew on this. Anything else before we talk about your question? Because Clint will break this down for us. All right, let's get to it, Clint. And JK, thank you, brother. Roll Tide, man. All right, you go ahead and hit me, Clint. What do you think? And I'm going to say this for JK. He's not alone. I've heard from some people that know defense way better than me. Way better than all of us, to be honest with you. that aren't real supportive of real not supportive is not the word, but not impressed with this defense.
I still think there's things that need to be worked out. I mean, granted, you got a Deontay Lawson who I think is getting closer to 100% every game. He's moving a lot better, but he's still not 100%. You know, he's still trying to get full trust in that knee. You lose Tim Keenan to start the season. You lose Jeremiah Beeman for the entire year. You've got a true freshman starting. You got a redshirt freshman behind him. You'll end up losing Quay Russaw in this game. You know, Jamarian Latham was supposed to be a part of your plans. He went out against Florida State. He was just about ready to come back. He suffers another injury that was not good at all. It's like there has been a lot of issues or injuries, especially in the front seven, that have affected some of what Alabama wants to do. Now, as Tim Keenan gets more healthy, I think that's really going to help. I don't know what the extent of Russaw's injury is, but that will be a rough one. I thought Justin Hill played pretty good in the limited snaps that I saw him. I mean, I thought he squeezed the tackle or the tight end, one of the two, extremely well down there on the goal line, was able to set a pretty mean edge. But, you know, the thing about it is when you're having so many problems with misdirection, when you're playing the Florida States of the world and stuff,
yeah,
it almost becomes, you know, that there's some trauma there, where when there is a fake reverse and you're seeing guys pulling you in a different direction, pulling your eyes in a different direction. I mean, who's to say that he didn't hand that football off and it wasn't a reverse? That's kind of the entire point, is to sell it and make it look that way. So, I mean, granted, knowing the team's tendencies and really what they're going to try to run, granted, I don't remember Georgia putting that on tape, but like there's just a lot more to it than people think. And when they've been struggling with a lot of the misdirection things, I'm not overly shocked that they get caught looking. It's something that they got to continue to improve on. I thought the linebackers were caught looking. It wasn't just that play. There was multiple occasions, and they have to continue to get better at that. And I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to absolve Kane Womack of everything. And, I'm telling you his scheme's great. I have my issues with it too. There's no doubt about it. I just want people to understand that there's more nuance to it than you think. And it's not all on Kane Womack. But if you want to say that it's just, we've seen this product and they played pretty good football at times last year. But, you know, when you see, I mean, Georgia going for 227 on the ground, and they had a running back that averaged 10 yards a carry with 12 carries. It wasn't like it was a small volume. It was pretty good volume. That's not good. So I do understand the frustration, and it is going to take, some adjustments on Alabama's part, and they got to be willing, not be stubborn. They have to be willing to make those adjustments.
Gelato, thank you, man. We all agree. I thought that the targeting call was complete crap, but thanks to the flying dog, we still won anyway. Ellis Robinson, thank you for flying in on the pile late. But yeah, no, I thought that was a terrible call too. I totally agree with you. I didn't think it was a penalty, let alone a targeting penalty. So, you know, I was shocked by it, honestly. Just absolutely shocked.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of have, you know, and I know a lot of people hop on here and they haven't watched the entire thing. So we end up having to reiterate, and that's totally fine. For me, I probably wouldn't have called it based off of making contact with the football. I don't know that these rules, man, A, they change a lot. B, there's so many nuances to it. But what I will say is he led with the crown of his helmet. It's a dangerous play for him to be making. And granted,
you're saying for him, he could get injured himself.
Yeah, this had nothing to do with him putting anybody else in danger. This was referees. The entire point of the one element of that rule is to protect the defensive player from himself. And granted, does him hitting the football with the crown of his helmet, does that prevent him from jamming his neck relative to hitting the player? Because I think it's just as dangerous. It could jam his neck and cause a devastating injury to him, whether he hits the football or hits the player, in my opinion, which means that the football might be considered the same thing as a player. I don't know for sure. I understand the frustration in it, though. I really do, because as I'm watching it, I'm trying to understand where the refs are coming from with it. But, you know, that's just a guy he didn't die. Yeah, he maybe was a little bit late, but he wasn't like his penalty against, was it Louisiana Monroe? He had a late penalty. Maybe it was against Florida State. Actually, it was against Florida State. And ended up being one of the reasons. Well, a lot of factors, but helped Alabama lose that game. But it wasn't anything like that. Is my point. It was more of him just he's trying to make a play and just ended up. It was kind of like the Justin Jefferson hit last year against USF that ended up getting targeting, where it's like that's just a football player playing football, But you're going to get probably at least one or two of those pretty much every single year.
All right, back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
What's up, brother? This is Travis Hastings from California.
No,
How you doing,
it's the
friend?
Hastings brothers. We got half of the Hastings brothers from out in the Bay. What's up? Roll Tide.
Well, I waited on hold for about 45 minutes because I had to call out my guy, Clint Lamb. And here's my deal here. After week 1, my guy, Clint Lamb, apologized to the fan base like he did something wrong or something. And he was right on. This team is very good. And we just played a tough football game week 1. We didn't play well. Like, it happens. It's football, right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't play well. And
he took it to heart, though, didn't he, Trav? He took it to heart.
The hardest working man in the business. My guy, Clint Lamb, the hardest working man in the business. So I just want to call out my guy, Clint Lamb. And I love you, Mick, so that's obvious.
Yeah,
but Clint Lamb's the hardest working guy in the business. And he was right about everything. This team is very good. We kicked ass tonight. Tyson's is a beast. And I'm very excited about the future of this team. And we got to go get Andy next week. So that's it. I just it broke my heart that my guy Clint Lamb was apologizing after week 1 because that was not necessary. We just didn't play well. That's it.
He was upset. It was his birthday yesterday, Travis. Did you say happy birthday to him? Did you sing to him?
I know it was. Happy birthday, my guy. I know he can't. Yeah, no, I know. I know I can't hear him, but
great call,
anyway,
Travis.
what I'm saying is we are who we thought we were. We're a good football team. Tyson's is a very good football player. I mean, let's go get this thing. Like, what are we doing? Like, we had a bad week 1. Let's go get it. Let's go get it, boys. This is it. So my guy Clint Lamb was right. I love you, Mick. Let's go win a national championship, boys.
Hey, roll Tide, Travis. Tell Phil I said hey, and and enjoy life out there in the Bay Area. Look at that, man. Clint, happy birthday. You got a lot of love from out in California.
That's very cool. First of all, appreciate it. I really do. It didn't look anything like we thought. What I think I've learned here is there's another element that you just never know with a team, because it can all look great, but you got to go out there and do it. And then that's something that we all know, but you need to be reminded. And I think leading up to the season, I didn't give enough attention to, hey, all these things look great, guys, but they got to go do it. You got to. It doesn't matter what Clint Lamb says in August or in July about how good I think this team is and the way pieces are coming together. You've got to go put it on display. And the fact that they didn't, it was frustrating for me as someone who had covered it and followed it. But that's part of also the business, man. Sometimes I hear things from people behind the scenes, and I get to go take credit and bring it up and make it talking points and stuff. I put my name on it. So if I'm going to be willing to do that and, get the praise when things end up looking the way they're supposed to, and I know Clint said this in the opposite, like, you got to be willing to take some of the brunt in when things aren't going the way that you said they were going to go. But I appreciate him saying that. And I do think that this team, everything that we talked about them being capable of, they are 100% capable of. They've got to continue to go do it each and every week. And that starts with Vanderbilt next Saturday, a team that is going to be a problem offensively. They were a problem last year. You got to play assignment sound football. And it's a team that's scrappy. Like, they're going to come in. One thing about it, Vanderbilt's not coming in scared. They've done this already once. They believe they can do it again. So Alabama's got to continue to put their foot on the gas. And if they go out against Vanderbilt and they continue to make a statement like they have in these last 3 games, I will really start getting excited about this team's chances of making a push. This is the last obstacle. I'm not saying, we'll hand them the national championship next week if they beat Vanderbilt. They still got to continue to do it, but I will say their biggest issue was facing success last year. And that is one thing that they've got to be able to prove, because what they did to Georgia tonight and the way that they were controlling things early, they're going to be getting a lot of praise this week for sure.
Yeah, this is like I said before, I thought this was going to happen, but they've been getting a steady diet of shit. Now everybody's going to be just telling them, like you just said, how great they are. Ty Simpson, you're going to win this. Look, people are going to be talking about Ty for the Heisman here soon. Okay, get ready for it.
We did it with Milroe after the Georgia game last year, didn't we?
Get ready for it. And we're going to forget about that. You know what? We got to work on the run game. We're going to forget about that. We don't stop the run very good. We had a lot of things go our way. We managed a hell of a game. Vanderbilt is coming in. They're not a fluke.
That's right.
They're good. I mean, like Diego can sling it, man, and he can run. You know, we're going to have to, he's a dual threat, and he's as good as they come. We're going to have to really score points to beat them, because they're going to score on us. So just get ready for it. This is going to be a battle. I'm just telling you, like, just get ready for it. And they don't care what the uniform looks like. They're not intimidated by it. They went out and got all these dudes that were hungry, that weren't getting opportunities, that didn't get respect, and they love playing on this level because they don't have the talent, but they got the heart. You know, and they're fundamentally good. We can beat them, but we have to be ready. I think we will be. I think we will be. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a hell of a game. I don't see one of those 59-0 games coming. I think it's going to be 42-35 or something like that. I think being at home is going to help us out. Vanderbilt's always been tough at the beginning of the year. You guys know this. I mean, I've been a fan of Alabama, a student covering Alabama for a long time now, even though I don't look like that. I look younger than Clint, even though his birthday was this week. No, I'm just kidding. But the truth of the matter is that when you play Vandy early, they're always pretty tough because, you know, the problem that they've had in the past is that they don't have a lot of depth. But this is totally different. Look, Vanderbilt has money to spend. They went out and spent money. They've got the most experienced quarterback that you could have in a college setting, and he's different and he's tough. They almost run like like a style of offense that kind of reminds me of. I mean, look, it's not the option, but it's kind of like it's kind of different like that, and he runs it perfectly. So it's going to be a tough game. But
I'll go ahead and say this early, Mick. Avoid what you put yourself into last year. The fact that you essentially allowed them to score a touchdown, then you threw a pick six, get down 14 points. That played into, they were able to control everything because Alabama's trying to fight for every possession, and they're grinding things out, long sustaining drives that were ending in points, and Alabama could never quite catch, even when they started getting things rolling offensively, which was almost immediate. They just were chasing the whole game. Avoid that, and that game is completely different. That's played right into what Vanderbilt was as a football team last year, and really in a lot of ways what they are as a football team this year. If you do that, you will once again be in massive trouble. If you don't, then I do think Vanderbilt's going to score some points. I think that they are going to be a tough test for Alabama, but I do think that it is a lot more manageable if you just change that one factor.
Ty Simpson, 24-38, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, no interceptions. Running back or the Alabama running backs, Jam Miller, 16 carries, 46 yards. It was good to see him get back in there again. He averaged 2.9. He had some good runs in the game, though. Had a 7-yard run towards the end of the game that helped put the thing away. Kevin Riley, again, was in there. You know, he's kind of like Jam light. 10 carries, 30 yards. Jeremy Bernard from the wide receiver position, 5 carries, 20 yards. And then they got Caden Proctor as a run, but we all know that was a catch. Wide receivers speaking, we got Isaiah Horton, 5 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Ryan Williams, 5 catches, 43 yards, and a drop touchdown. Boy, if he'd have caught that touchdown at the beginning of the game, it would have been great. But Bama still went down and scored. Latsier Brooks caught a couple balls for 40 yards. The 21-yard catch was awesome, though. I mean, he just didn't want to go down. Kevin Riley out of the backfield, 2 catches, 37 yards. Jeremy Bernard, 5 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Josh Cuevas, couple catches from the tight end spot, 24 yards. Jam Miller, 3 catches, 19 yards. Caleb Edwards with a catch for 17 yards.
Big one, Mick. Big one. I mean, and first of all, love what I saw from Latsier Brooks. I mean, really all the wide receivers.
Heart, man. The guy plays with heart.
Hey, and he, you know what? He's not. I guess he's pretty stocky for a guy who's 5'10", probably not even 5'10", if I'm speaking candidly. But he's just one of those dudes where he's got everything you look for at the position, other than like elite length or elite size. He's a stocky guy. He's extremely elusive, very explosive, a knack for making plays, can break some tackles. Like, this guy's going to be a special player, guys. I mean, at this point, and wearing that 17, we all remember early in Jalen Waddle's career, he made a name for being the wide receiver 4. He wasn't really starting games, but he was playing a lot and making a big impact when he was getting his opportunities. So give him a lot of credit, and also give Isaiah Horton a lot of credit, because I did think going into this game that, based off of Chris Brazel's success for Tennessee when they played Georgia, being that longer, bigger receiver, I thought Isaiah Horton could be a sneaky, X factor in this game, and he did come up with some pretty critical catches, and actually ended up being tied for a team lead, 9 targets, and so Horton had 9 targets, Ron Williams had 8, and Jeremy Bernard had 9. And then you got a bunch of other guys sprinkled in there, but that's what we're talking about. You get all those guys, 6, 7, 8, 9 targets every single week. That's a 3-headed monster there. It's a lot to contain. And then you start mixing in guys like Latsier Brooks, who didn't get a lot of targets, but was efficient with his targets, effective. Cuevas, same thing. Yeah. This Alabama passing game can be absolutely lethal.
No doubt. All right, switching over to defense. We talked about the game that Bray Hubbard had. The stats look great for him. 9 tackles, 5 solos, 1 tackle for loss. Then he forced that fumble, which turned out to be a big fumble because you won by 3. That was a play that he forced, right? He forced a fumble on a textbook tackle. Justin Jefferson had 8 tackles, 5 for loss. LT Overton, 6 tackles, 4 for loss. He had a half a sack, and then the tackle for loss that he had was, really the biggest play of the game. I mean, if you said what was the biggest play of the game, everything out there, that stop on 4th down from 4th and goal, that won the game. I mean, when you look back at it now, really, because if they score, they win the game.
And I'll say this, man. As far only 1 sack, but they were pretty disruptive. Obviously, how many throws did Gunnar Stockton? He only threw the ball 20 times. He didn't. I'll put it this way: Jalen Milroe averaged like 22 or 23 pass attempts per game last year, and he was near the bottom in the country. So the fact that Gunnar Stockton only threw the ball 20 times wasn't a ton of opportunities to get after the quarterback, but I thought they were pretty disruptive. But 6 tackles for loss plus that forced fumble, they were wreaking some havoc. There was 0 consistency as far as the run defense. It is a problem, but there were some bright spots or elements of this defense. So if we're going to point out the bad, definitely want to point out the good too.
Yep. Hey, super chats. Michael, thank you, man. Thank you. Roll Tide Roll says he's been following for years, and I appreciate you, all you guys, and especially you, Michael. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for following me throughout my career, because it's in this business, and Clinton, you know this, it's like a ping pong ball. You're in one place, and then you're in another place, and then you're in another place, and then sometimes we're together and sometimes we're not. But we appreciate you guys because you make it you make this fun. You make it what it's worth, and that is our time. You make it worth our time. Bama fans are the best, and it's been an absolute pleasure to get to talk to you all these years. So thank you for that. Backyard Legend, you've been killing it tonight. Here's another fantastic super chat. We weren't going to lose to a dude with a bowl cut and a visor. A visor at night. Yeah. Like, that's his thing. Like, he's the visor guy. It used to be Spurrier, but Georgia has like their own visor, like the visor with the real big front,
Yeah.
It's like the Athens visor.
That's such a funny comment. And I'll give, I mean, you could tell Kirby and Glenn Schumann, their heads were spinning in that first half. I mean, this Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, we'll go ahead and throw Nick Sheridan, Jamarcus Russell, Coach Cap. We'll throw their whole crew in there. This offense, they were causing some issues, and it's a fun offense to watch. And I'm telling you guys, they've got a quarterback that can operate it. He feels comfortable.
Yeah.
The timing, yes, there are times where it's like, hey, he was a little late getting that football out, but he's growing. And we talked to how much it was important for him and his confidence, what he did against Louisiana Monroe, perfect 17 of 17. Then you do what you do against Wisconsin, another excellent, very efficient performance that really grabbed the attention of everybody. And then you go on the road against a stingy Georgia defense that's really motivated to get a win over you. And you put up a really respectable, good performance. And another thing, protected the football.
Yeah.
He has not thrown an interception. He has done what he needed to do to protect the football and allow Alabama to make plays. They're throwing it a lot, and he should have had an interception early. I do want to point that out. It's not like
he dropped it.
Yeah, which, and so it's not like he's gone without having some ill-advised throws, but overall, he's doing what he needs to do to protect the football and protect this Alabama offense. And it's allowing them to, it didn't have the complimentary run game probably like he needed to, didn't have the complimentary defense at times like he probably needed to, but yet he stepped up to the plate and he kind of shouldered a much larger portion of this workload than I probably thought he was going to need to. And he still found a way to help Alabama win the game.
Yeah. Hey, look, big win for Alabama. And I think it goes back to this, like, kind of, as we kind of get towards the end of our show here, the thing that you got to remember in a win like this, you go on the road and you play these games against good to great teams. And I put Georgia in that category. I don't know how good or great they are, but their track record tells you that they're at least good and they might be great. And they've won 33 straight at home, so they've done that with a bunch of different teams. You got to just play smart, and you can't turn the ball over, and you can't make mistakes. And Bama made some mistakes, right? A few. Their fourth down play, out near midfield, awful. And
Shankopotamus.
Yeah, right. And then, but you know what? They came back on defense and they had a 3-and-out, right? So they picked up the offensive side of the ball. But there were a couple of those plays. You're going to have those in a college game, but they didn't turn the ball over. And they had that one play, and after that, they just were solid. They missed a field goal. They gave up some big runs, but they went and tracked the guy down and tackled him. And then after that, they were stingy. I thought on the touchdowns that Georgia scored, like, Bama was a wall down there. The one holding, or they would have, prevented that other one from happening. So I like the intensity that they brought to the table. And if they would have lost this game, I still would have liked the intensity that they brought to the table. I'm not one of these people, and, for those of you guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I not after every loss am I going, well, you know what? I think they played like absolute dog shit, like I thought against Florida State. I was really concerned after that game. But to watch the way that these guys have responded, they played about a perfect game against Louisiana Monroe. Now, I wish they would have scored 100 for the billboards. But, we got 73. I thought we had a really good game against against Wisconsin. Could have scored more, but it kind of felt like doing that. And then, and obviously this one, a well managed game. So, Clint, are you frozen? But it looks like Clint just froze out. So that leaves me. Well, look, guys, I appreciate you so much for all the super chats and all the fun tonight. Andy, thank you. Love you guys. We're going to beat down on Pavetta next week. Saban Field will be rocking. I certainly hope so. I think it will be, man. I think that we're going to be ready for this matchup against Georgia, against Vanderbilt after win over Georgia. I think that this team's going to be motivated for that. And I'm excited about that. As I say farewell, I want to thank Clint and Reed Taylor and EG and Taylor and everybody that's been a part of Cover Crimson. It is a part of it. This is my last show. But keep supporting these guys. They're the best. And it's going to be a fun matchup against Vanderbilt next week. Thank you guys for hanging out. Like and subscribe. Make sure that you're a part of it. And look, from the bottom of my heart, man, Roll Tide. What a great win.